Good evening. We're going to begin the council work session for August 2nd, 2021. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Thomas, if you would proceed with the agenda.
Certainly, Mr. Odom. The first item is the MVP trucking site plan reapproval. This was tabled from last month. I'll just turn it over to Mr. Sabosley.
Oh, thank you.
Take it away. Surprise, surprise.
Clearly wasn't expecting that.
As you all know, Mark Petropoulos is here tonight from MVP, and he's one of the two brothers that are running that MVP business. They were before us in 2019, before the Planning Commission, before Council, for some conditional use approvals and some site plan approvals for the development of three distinct and totally unrelated items. The first one was self-storage. They have a self-storage area they built. Another one was truck repair, which I guess is your main business for MVP. And then I know that you guys are involved in sports here in Plum, and you ventured out to construct a sport court, which looks like you're getting a lot of business there. So that project was delayed a little bit because of COVID, and then started construction in 2020, and sort of finished up in the late spring, early summer of this year. When we were conducting our final inspection, or a pre-inspection, we noticed that in front of the self-storage area that the fence had been built quite a ways away, I mean 20 feet, 30 feet further, closer to Coxcomb Hill Road than was shown in the drawings. What we do when we go through our planning process is that we go through Planning Commission, Council, work through a development agreement, and at our pre-construction meeting, we sign a set of drawings as a reference set of drawings for the project, so we're all on the same page about what drawings we're using. So in this case, we would look back at the drawings, and the drawings did not show this fence moved out into that area. We had some discussion with Mark and his brother, and they talked about wanting to do self-storage there, or outdoor self-storage with vehicles. I said, well, it's not on the approved plan. I suggest that you head back to Planning Commission to talk about an amendment to your plan that would allow for that. So they were at the Planning Commission in, I think, June, and there's some good discussion there, and Planning Commission did recommend to Council that they approve that amendment to the plan as long as there was screening. There's an existing fence that's already there. They put slats in the fence, not only in the front, but on one of the sides, and that would be the side, I think, that might possibly be visible from the road. That's the side that faces your building. On the other side, there's no way anyone's going to see that. It came from Planning Commission, came up at the July meeting with Council, and I think Council would ask to have Mark come and talk to us tonight about what their plans are, and really, if the events differ from how I described it, how we arrived at this situation.
All right, sounds good. Sorry, just jump on the microphone.
Yeah, please.
Perfect. Sorry, I didn't realize it was an open door session the last time I would have been here. But I'm going to pass these out real quick because it was from our 2019 planning meeting where it actually shows we actually had the fence in the current location that it is in. And then that was on April 5th, 2019 when I came to you guys and we talked about it. And then when we did the final engineering drawings, the fence actually got moved in to where it shows on the drawings, where the signed drawings. But if you go back to the meeting, I think you probably have the drawings we turned in, that you can actually see the fence in the current location is now. So I figured I just brought the pages to show. I'll just pass them out. And I brought the original board from when we went to the meeting showing where the fence is at, but I just made a drawing for you guys. I'm allowed to pass it out, right?
Sure.
Thanks. You're allowed to pass it out.
Thank you. We're pretty informal here on the work sessions.
All right, cool. I wasn't sure. But the second page shows the approved conditional use drawing that
Thanks.
that we presented. And then when we brought the engineering drawings, the fence got moved in. What happens is we moved the self-storage from 170 feet to 200 feet.
Thank you.
And when it got moved to 200 feet, I think Lenny just tucked the fence in, because when he slid it out to 200 feet, it put the side by the fence, and where we were doing the storage, I think he just tucked it in just to match the fence along it. But if you look at it, you can see where, I highlighted in yellow, you can see where the fence is currently at. And you can see the drawing behind it was the sign drawings from, that we turned in that the borough signed for the construction drawings. Just so you guys think, we didn't just randomly think halfway through the project, hey, let's push the fence out. When we came to council, we did come to council with the philosophy of doing the storage. And then if you also look at the last page, it shows, this is the letter from the zoning ordinance from Plum to Triangle Engineering, showing that we could do the vehicle storage. So when we, honestly, when we went and did everything, we planned on vehicle storage. We presented it to the bank, like, hey, we're gonna store vehicles here plus the revenue from the 41 self-storage units to get financed for the project. And so we actually, I don't know if you guys remember talking about the screening, and I mentioned like, hey, I'd rather not have the screening because our insurance said, hey, if you have a clear vision of something from the road, it's more secured than having somebody able to jump over a fence and then be behind a barrier. I talked to my brother, we're okay if we have to put the slats in so we could go ahead and store vehicles there because that's critical to our financing. I don't know if anybody remembers the conversation or not. We had it with the slats and talked about the screening, and I asked, prefer not to, and it sort of dropped at that point. But just trying to refresh everybody's memory because I know you guys go through a lot.
I do kind of remember that, but it was, the reason I was okay with you not having screening at the time was we didn't know you were having this storage. Now that you're gonna have this bigger vehicle storage there, I just think it's, it's nice, it'll be a more pleasing appearance from the roadway, and that's really, it should be a concern of yours, I'm sure it is. You want to make people think you have a nice facility as well as a busy one. I get that.
Yeah.
But, typically, some of these people come in and they put a tarp over their camper or something, and halfway through the winter, the tarp rips, and things just start to look dilapidated, so that's why I've been around a lot of storage spaces, I've
Yeah.
rented a few, and, it's just the nature of the beast, as they say, so I would prefer you had the slats
Okay.
along the roadside, and that one side that Dave said is visible from the road again.
Yeah.
Like you said, the other side, there's no way it's gonna be seen
Yeah,
from
that's
the
by the
roadway.
woods. I'm okay with that. But I know we're
And
not
that's,
gonna store
I'm just
anything,
one
but-
person.
Yeah, 'cause,
Talk to the rest of the people.
Of course, our biggest customer, we do a lot of McDonald's stuff, and I don't know if you know it, but they're in RIDC Park 10 miles away from us. So they come and visit us.
Good.
So that's why I got to keep it looking nice. As you can see, we went over and Bob, we didn't
Yeah,
even
the
do the
place is
mulch. We
nice,
went to
yeah.
fancy rocks and trying to make it look nice. Of course, for Plum too, but I also got my main customer can show up at any time, so we want to make sure it's very nice and presentable. And same thing with the sports court. I don't want people coming into the sports court, and if it looks bad, then they're going to throw stuff on the ground. They're going to litter and all that kind of stuff. So if we made it nice, some of you guys have been inside. We made the bathrooms real nice. We made it nice inside. So that way people take care of it too, is what we're
And that's the
looking
same way about the borough, though. When something looks nice, people are better, apt to take care of things, so,
Yeah,
I think it works, it definitely works for everybody,
Yeah.
when it works, so.
What is the height of the fence?
it's at 6 feet.
foot. And it's up a little bit, so from the road
Yeah.
it's down, it's gonna be probably an 8-10 foot fence by the
Well,
time
you were saying if you put a motor home in there with a blue tarp on it, and the tarp rips or whatever, it's 6 feet high enough to cover it. That's
Well, I think
Well, but-
because of the elevation difference it is.
Yeah, like if you're driving your car by, I mean, it's up. What's the elevation? Do we know? I mean, it's up probably.
Probably
Yeah, well, then
more than
that
It's a
added on to the.
So it's
Yeah.
11 feet now.
10, 11 feet.
Yeah,
all right. I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it's good
if you're going to
question.
hide something, hide it.
Hide
you
it,
know?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't wanna make
think we
them
had
get
so
an
much
8
of a discussion about the fence. We had more of a discussion that we thought the storage was gonna be behind the building, not out front.
The
That's
I think
correct.
that's what our concern that we raised was. It wasn't so much the fence, it was.
Well, yeah, that was the
When we
initial.
first thought about this, I thought we were told that the parking, or the storage was gonna be behind the building, and we didn't really care too much. But now they moved it out to the front of the building, and that's why we raised a concern with what it's gonna look like.
You know, it's interesting because I specifically took a look at that area where they have the storage when you're driving on 909, since we had the discussion last time. And when you're going, let's see, if you're going towards Lower Borough on 909, like you're passing Veltry's on the left,
Yep.
you can't see the storage
Right.
because of the way the road, yeah, the grade of the road is
hillside,
elevating. You almost can't see it until you pass it. If you're passing it on your right, and then on your left, So at first I was agreeing when we had our previous discussion that I don't think we want people to see that, but
You really can't see
you
it?
really can't see. You really can't see. It's, I mean, especially if you're passing it on your right, you
Yeah.
really can't see it until you're almost
Well,
past
that's
it.
why he wouldn't have to put the slats on that.
Right.
part of the
That's what
fence.
I was saying. Like when I saw it, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Right, it's-
We're kind of.
I think everybody agrees with that. It's just not visible that way.
Right. So I don't know if we're, kind of making,
I'm okay, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it either.
Right.
I seen it, but I'm
I mean,
good.
before I hadn't really paid attention to
Right,
what
me
you
neither.
can see from the road, and I made a pointed, effort to take a look at it, and I don't see it's an issue, but that's my opinion.
I have no issue with it. It's just, like I said previously, I mean, it's storage. It's the use.
So at the July session, because I wasn't here at the voting meeting, did we table?
We tabled
We
the
tabled
motion.
it.
We
So-
tabled it to have him come so we can
And
ask him
explain the
Yeah.
details, so we can just put it back
Yeah,
on the
we didn't
agenda
wanna-
for
So we're good.
any other discussion, or?
No, I think that this project has come along, pretty well. I think that there are two outstanding issues. One is the self-storage. The other are the maintenance items related to the stormwater that are still outstanding. So I think the only thing on the agenda for next week would be the issue with the self-storage.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Agenda item.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
No
Thank you for
problem.
coming out.
Will you guys have these for next meeting? Don't bring another copy, right?
No, we'll have them.
You'll have
So,
them. I
yeah.
didn't think so. All right, sounds good.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Mark.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget your poster, Mark.
Your board.
Your plans, I mean.
Should I bring us the next?
No.
No,
Nah,
not
you-
necessarily.
You're good. You're good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, item number 2 is the Coddington lot line revision. This was a simple subdivision that was accepted last month by council. Applicant is seeking permission to revise the lot lines of 3 properties they currently own at the intersection of Greensburg Road and Cable Drive. The properties are combined 6.7 acres, zoned HC Highway Commercial. Properties contain 2 single-family residences with garages. The purpose of the lot line revision is to place the 2-car garage on one of the lots completely within the boundary of the same parcel. It's really sort of cleaning things up and correcting a problem with the lot lines on a parcel. It was accepted last month, it's complete. It's been reviewed. Staff is recommending this month that you approve the lot line revision.
Seems routine. Any discussion? Agenda item.
Also routine, item number 3 is a cost of living adjustment for a retired police officer. I was going to say this is getting to be almost once a month, but I think it is once a month now, so it's just our monthly cost of living increase, adjustment, excuse me.
Discussion. Agenda item.
Item number 4 is an executive session item to discuss a personnel matter. And finally, on the agenda, item number 5 is the Malabar culvert replacement bids. Included in your agenda packet is the bid tabulations for the recently opened bids for the Malabar culvert replacement project. The low bidder for this project was Lone Pine Construction with a bid price of $244,441. Just so we're keeping things on track here, last month, council authorized the bond issue, and part of that bond issue was an exhibit that we did, a resolution identifying the sources and uses of funds. The amount that we had in the Malabar project as of last month was $420,000. So we're very happy that this project is under budget. I just want to point out, though, if you didn't get a chance to read the manager's report, that $420,000 includes, inspection, engineering. So we probably are going to be closer to the $300,000 mark on this project. However, still $120,000 below what we had anticipated, so we're good. I would assume that the engineer's office will be vetting the low bidder this week, and hopefully we'll be in a position to have a recommendation to award the contract next Monday night. And we're still planning on, I believe, starting in September for the work.
Yes, I just want to make correct one misconception. It's not a replacement. We're not going to replace the culvert. We're using the existing culvert, we're putting a lining inside that's slightly smaller in an opening. We had to get that approved by the DEP, and then we're grouting the void between the two.
Yeah,
If we were talking about a replacement, it would be 3 times that
Yeah.
in cost.
How long do you think this project will take, Paul?
I would guess 2 months, once they get started.
They were saying originally, like, around November, we'd be able
End
to
of
open it back
October
up.
is what
Right,
they-
end of October, beginning of November was projected. That's what we projected when we talked about it.
Yes.
Okay, discussion.
Finally.
Finally, absolutely. Okay, agenda item.
Okay.
Okay, that concludes the work session items. We will now adjourn for executive session. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Thank everybody for coming.